Right, I want to thank everybody for coming for Ryan's presentation for his senior project. Ryan will describe the project and demo what he has to demo, and we'll have time for Q&A after. If all of you have an evaluation of the presentation itself, Mrs. Todd and I do the evaluation of the project and so forth, as well as the presentation. But I appreciate your taking time out to come give Ryan some time. We've got 3 more presentations this week, 2 more today, and another on Thursday. So if you have time to come help students with those, it'd be great. Thank you.
I would just like to thank everybody for coming today and taking their time to come to my presentation. So just starting off, this is my senior project. I did my project over inventory and asset management of the CIS computer lab. I know some of you guys are familiar with how the CIS computer lab works, but I just wanted to just kind of go over that, describe to you guys how that is operated. So the Computer Information Systems department has their own computer lab located here in the party building. And the lab just provides a space for CIS majors to just practice all these concepts that we learn in class and just to get a hands-on feel for projects and things. And then part of the lab space, the students, when they are freshmen, they go through a PC hardware class. And then in that class, the student makes their own computer. And then the CIS department covers half the build cost of that computer, and then the student covers the rest. And then, so that's just a little overview of how the CIS lab works. So part of that is whenever the student builds a computer, they need to document just all the different components of the computer that they made. So my project was kind of a way of recording all that information and a way of keeping track of that primarily. So it's important to track and collect the information of the new PC builds, like I said, just to keep things organized and just so the CIS department knows what they have in inventory. It's also important to just know, like I said, the inventory of the computers and then what we have in use in the lab. Doing this will prevent any loss or possible theft even. We pretty much trust everybody in the computer lab, but there's always that possibility. So it also helps prevent like loss and theft, just knowing exactly what equipment is in the lab. Also, if any students bring in like extra components for computers, then that will keep track of like if a student says that they brought this in and they, it is owned by the student and not actually owned by the CIS department, and there's no dispute there. And then also at the time of graduation, the CIS student has the option of buying their computer back from the department or pieces of that. So this is also just a good way to just say like what they got in the PC hardware class for their computer. So my project mainly deals with the implementation of this. And so I tried different free softwares. I tried 3 different free softwares for this to try and implement the inventory and asset management of the lab. So I'm just going to go over those 3 different softwares that I had. One thing though that I did learn about this is that going into this project, I thought it was pretty straightforward, pretty easy project. It did take more time, and I ran into some roadblocks that I didn't foresee at first. So I'll just go over those as I go through the different systems that I tried. So the first software that I tried is called ABC Inventory. And this inventory software, this is an inventory software. This software is free to use under one license, so you can have one user on this software for free. It's a very thorough and detailed software. As you can see on the slide, this is just some screenshots of the software here. You can't really see it too well, but you can enter in all like very specific information on each component in each product. This software, like I said, it is very detailed and thorough, but it is primarily used for like a business that sells things. So it wasn't exactly the best solution for our lab, but I thought maybe I could manipulate it to make it a functioning project for our lab. But it turned out it was just too much based on like selling things, and it just wasn't really a good fit. So I moved on to the next software. Next software is known as NIS inventory software, and this solution is primarily a network-based inventory management software. So it's actually fully automated, and it's also free to use, free to download, free to use. Like I said, this is its own separate network, so I had to set up a little mini network inside of the CIS lab network. And then this is just a screenshot of off the website of how you set up the network. So basically what I did is I took I started out with one computer, and that was the management console, as you see here. And so that one primarily dealt with managing the inventory and accessing the NIS server. And then I had to set up a separate computer, a separate machine that was a server. And then that one was installed with the NIS operating system, and that was the software that did the automated inventory data collection. And then also I had to have a thermal barcode printer attached to the server side. And then whenever you would, and then also I had to have a switch to communicate between the server, the management console, and the client machines, which would be the CIS lab member machines. And then whenever you connect a lab machine to the switch, then it is on this did have to be on a separate network to access the NIS server and things. It had to be a specific IP address. So that's why the switch was there, because the lab has its own separate IP that was different from this one. So whenever you attach a client machine to the switch, then it is on that private network, that little mini network in the lab there. And then once you connect that, the server will automatically, it's part of the operating system. I just had to install the operating system onto the server, and then it is pretty hands-off. It kind of pretty much installed itself. You just follow the prompts, and it's pretty automated with that, so that's kind of a nice feature. But once you connect a client machine to the switch, the server will automatically detect it, and then it will, you have to start the process through the management console. And then it will automatically read the specifications on the client machines, and then it will automatically enter that information into the NIS database. And then it's supposed to automatically print off a barcode with all the information. But the printer that I chose, I didn't know I didn't think that it would work with the NIS operating system, so it wasn't compatible because it needed drivers to work on Windows and Mac, so that the printer didn't end up working. But I did get I got all this set up, and then I got the server working, and it started to log a laptop that I just got from the closet, the CIS closet. And I noticed when it started to run the logs and like automatically enter it into the system, and I noticed it said wiping hard drive, and that would be a problem for us in the computer lab because we already have like machines that have information on it, and I can't like take other people's machines and hook it up and wipe the hard drive. So part of this automated software, it does wipe the data that is already on a hard drive, which would be useful in certain situations. If we were just starting a fresh start, you know, just new machines, it would be fine. But since we already have an operational lab, we can't really use this. So another thing I learned from that was to always use things that it's okay to get them messed up, because I almost used my laptop on there to test it, and that would have not been fun. So that was just a learning moment for me on that. Like I said, here's just some screenshots of the installation of the server. So it was pretty straightforward. You just kind of go through these prompts, and they have a thorough step-by-step on their website to go through these, and it's pretty automated here. There's just some more screenshots. I did purchase, or the CIS department did purchase a barcode scanner and a thermal barcode printer. Like I said, this was more of a cheaper printer compared to the ones that were demonstrated in they had a video that demonstrated the NIS software working. And then that one was a more enterprise printer, so it was a little bit more pricey, but this is the one that we have here. And then once the server is up and running, it gives you a nice welcome screen there, and you actually don't have to mess with the server side of it past this welcome screen. It's all managed through the management console at that point. And then there's what it looks like when it first boots up the server. So there are some helpful options through this. It wasn't necessarily the solution for the CIS lab, just because of the way it wipes the hard drives. Honestly, that is just not good for the department, and they're just not the solution. But this would still be a very good tool to use in maybe different applications. So also part of that, through the management console, you can access just the different things here. You can make custom reports based on what you have in inventory, so that would be helpful for businesses to visually see what they have in inventory and just the different devices that they have in stock. And then also you can get a detailed report that is less visual, but it gives detailed reporting on what is in inventory. And then the final software tool that I looked at was called Asset Tiger. This is a cloud-based asset tool, so it's completely online, and you don't have to have a server to run it. So I don't know if you guys all know what cloud means exactly, but cloud basically means that you don't have to have the server, a physical server to run the database, but they host it online, and then the server is somewhere else, and then it runs through an online process. This is also free, and this is free for unlimited users and then unlimited assets. So that is really pretty cool. Like the ABC was only one user. NIS, it was just free all around too, so that's kind of similar to this, but that is a helpful thing, especially with the cloud-based software, because you're not actually requiring any of your assets to run it necessarily. And then also, this also includes different ways to display it, like the NIS software did. Like you can generate graphs and reports, custom reports and things like that. So the way this runs is you enter in by hand all of your information on the computers and the inventory. So this is not automated like the other one, but you do have to enter it in by hand. And then, so this is free to use, this side of it, the management of it, but the way they make their money is by selling these different labels here. So you can still use your own labels. They offer you to print your own out. See, I made one here that has HLGU on it and CIS, so you can customize your labels and then use your own printer to print them out. So it still can be a free option, but it is nice that they offer a way to purchase these custom-made labels, and then it also goes along with that Asset Tiger program. This is actually a different website called myassettag.com, and I think they run in conjunction with each other. So it's just nice because you can customize it any way you want. They have different materials and different colors. And then the price here, it was 100 labels for $79. That was like the cheaper end, so you can get nicer labels. So that could be a bit of a pricey solution. But like I said, you can still go the free route. And if you have a printer that can handle this, then you can print those labels out for free as well. All right, so that's about it. Does anybody have any questions?
Were you able to print an actual label on the printer?
Yes. I tried to, I was successful in printing a label off of my assetlabel.com, myassettag.com.
With the printer you
Yes.
bought?
So the printer that I bought, like I said, it didn't really work with the NIS software so well, but it wasn't totally worthless. Like I can definitely use it. I just kind of ran out of time. Some of these softwares were a little bit challenging, and then by the time I realized they weren't the best solution for the department, I was already out of time. So I think Asset Tiger would be a good way to go moving forward in this. And I did get a decent start on that, but I just didn't have enough time to fully make it totally functional.
Were you ever able to make use of the scanner?
Yes. So I didn't get to the point where I could scan labels and then have them recognize it on Asset Tiger, but I know that will still be able to be used for that because they do support barcode scanning through Asset Tiger. So yeah.
What are 3 important things you've learned in this experience?
The first thing would be that I should never underestimate a project, even if it seems pretty straightforward or easy, because there can always be unexpected roadblocks that show up, and to always allow myself enough time to overcome those roadblocks. I think that would be probably the major thing. And then also, another thing I learned was that there are a lot of good free software out there, but in some things, you basically get what you pay for. So some of these free softwares, they were good, but I know that's just working in my internship over the summer that they had some for-pay services that were definitely a lot better than these free softwares. But for some situations, they would definitely do the job. So.
How did you go about getting data from all the people in the lab?
So I actually printed out a form that has all the separate, just like different components of the computer, and then they filled it out, and then I collected that. And then I didn't get to it, but I was going to put it into a Excel sheet. And then the Asset Tiger, I forgot to mention, they support importing and exporting of Excel sheets, so it makes it, you can enter it in by hand, but that does make it a little bit faster if you have it already into an Excel worksheet. So that was how I was going to do that. I just ran out of time. So.
The one solution automatically identified all the component parts and everything, and clearly that's a nice feature, but it's a bigger, more cumbersome system to set up and the problems you ran into. The last system that you suggested, and you print out the label, does the label include the information for all of the component parts that you put in, or do you have to have a different label for each part that you?
Yeah, so the way that system is, it doesn't necessarily differentiate between each component like the second software does. That one, basically you would have to, there's just a description box, so you would have to do that on your own, like have like a divider between the, it would just depend, like if you want to classify it as the machine, then you would have, in the description, you would have to list out all of the,
Parts.
yeah, just in one description box.
But if you want to keep track of like your video cards or how much RAM you had or whatever, then you
Yeah,
have to.
if you wanted to
make separate.
categorize each individual piece and put a barcode on like each piece, you could do that as well. But like I said, if you want to do like a whole machine, then you'll have to differentiate in just the one description box.
Do you have to work with any other people in this experience?
I got some help from you, so you gave me some advice on the second software to look into that one. And I also had to get the budget approved through you guys. So other than that, oh, and then I also needed to collect the information from the other CIS members. So that was pretty much the only other people I worked with.
Is a senior project something every student in our department should have to do?
I think it's definitely a good experience. I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot of IT concepts and principles from it, but also it's good to get like a hands-on, real-world experience on managing a project, and then also like dealing with other classes and everything on top of that. So I think it's a good real-world experience to manage a project. All right. Well, I just want to thank you guys again for coming and attending my senior project. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.